Hey guys, I hope you're all good and safe as always. In this video I'd like to discuss the topic of fundamentals and how to get better at Tekken. Defining fundamentals is a little tricky. Depending on where you look, you'll find different definitions. Some people believe certain skills are considered fundamentals, while others believe everything you do is fundamentals. For the sake of the video, we'll go with this definition: skills that transfer across characters. Things such as matchup knowledge, general understanding of frame data, spacing and punishment all fall under fundamentals. So the big question is, how do I get better at it? Without further introductions, let's begin. The first thing I would recommend doing is lobbing characters for matchup knowledge. I know using practice mode is a tedious and boring process, so I understand if you don't feel inclined to use it, but it would tremendously improve your fundamentals. Looking up what's the character's best moves and strings and taking a close look at them in practice mode is important. It's a good way to build muscle memory for ducking certain highs and punishing moves on block. Matchup knowledge is so incredibly important in this game, so dedicating some time to practice ducking common highs is almost crucial once you reach an intermediate level. If you guys would like, I could make a video to go more in depth on what exactly to do in practice mode and how to make the most out of it without wasting your time, so let me know in the comments. Secondly, whiff punishment. You can vastly improve whiff punishment by being wary of whiffs. Good whiff punishment requires intuition and solid reads. If you see your opponent tends to whiff down forward ones, or anything that recovers too quickly to whiff punish on reaction, you can just predict it. Have a move in mind with a decent range and keep your finger on the trigger. The moment you see them flinch is when you pull the trigger and shoot that son of a barrel. You don't have to dig through your character's move list to find good whiff punishers, as you can probably find that information by simply looking it up. Block punishment. Now, this can fall under matchup knowledge, as you'd need to know what are the frames on block to know which punishers to use. But I wanted to talk about how you can figure some things out on the fly. A decent habit to develop is to test punish moves that look punishable. If you have an unsafe 10-frame punisher, it's best to stick to 1-2 or 2-1 jab strings to see if the move is punishable or not. If your jabs consistently connect after whichever move your opponent uses, you can switch to harder hitting punishers. Getting 15 points of damage is always better than nothing. Not to mention, it comes with a decent frame advantage, so make sure to take your turn afterwards. Understanding frame data. With this, I'm not talking about block punishment as much as everything altogether. Being knowledgeable on whatever your current frame situation is can improve your decision making a lot. Of course, this one comes with a huge time commitment, so what you can do instead is understand how it typically works. If you just got hit, you're probably in the negative, and it's best to block the next attack, and vice versa if you're the one hitting. If you blocked an attack, it's probably safe to contest the next turn. Of course, this won't always work as some moves are plus on block, so it's still their turn. These moves often come with a slow startup and are weak to sidestepping. Another good thing to remember is that after taking a throw, it's almost always your turn. If you don't understand frame data at all, worry not, as I've already made a video explaining them as simply as I could. You can click on the annotation on the screen to watch that video. Number 5 is spacing. By spacing, I mean being wary of your surroundings. This one is the easiest to get a grasp on. All you have to do is safely sidewalk or sidestep away from bad positions. Don't forget that you can block while sidestepping, so make sure to be ready to block when you start moving. Here's an example of spacing. On Howard Estate, you do not want these breakable walls to be behind you, so what you can do is backdash and sidewalk to get out of there. You've seen the main man videos, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't want to be that Dragunov, you better pay attention to where you're standing. Another tip I can give you is to not backdash too much. The more you backdash unnecessarily, the closer you get to the wall, which is not good. Try to keep the optimal distance for your whiff punishers to connect, and as I've mentioned previously, be on the lookout for whiffs. Movement. With this one, I'm specifically talking about sidestepping and creating backdashing. This one is probably the hardest on this list, as you'll lose a lot trying to apply proper movement. It takes time and patience to develop this skill. A mistimed sidestep could get you killed, and the same applies to backdashing. So, what can we do to improve this right now? With 2 ways. The first is regarding sidestepping. At close range, you almost always want to sidestep with a reason in mind. It's the best way to avoid getting punished for trying to sidestep. If you see your opponent uses a move that you know is weak to a certain side, you can attempt to sidestep. If you see them charging at you and you're expecting a running move, you can sidewalk. Having a particular move in mind when sidestepping will increase your success rate. The second way to improve movement is by understanding when to backdash. As mentioned in my point about spacing, you never want to backdash excessively with no reason in mind. Backdashing back to optimal whiff punishing range is a good idea. Remember to be careful using currying backdash if you're within your opponent's whiff punishment range. The down back input in the currying backdash leaves you vulnerable to mids. so you might get clipped with long-range moves like Asuka's forward 2 or Hwoarang's back 3. Having a good sense of your opponent's attack pattern will help you know when you can safely create backdash. At close range, you can try a normal backdash instead to squeeze out of pressure, then transition to Korean backdashing to create space. A crucial note is to always hold the second back input when doing a regular backdash. I've recently found out that in this brief moment during a backdash, you're actually neutral guarding, which some moves can get through. In order to maintain your guard as much as possible, you have to hold the second back input. Building intuition. This is something that comes with experience, and all you can do is be mindful during gameplay to develop this. After some time playing the game, you'll start noticing patterns, be it in characters or player playstyles. For example, how many times have you seen this happen? Or this? Or this? After playing the game for a while, you'll start picking up on these flowcharts, which will in turn make you less susceptible to falling for them. Use throws against king players, be patient against Asuka to not fall for her parry traps, be ready for Brian 3+4 whenever you're on the screen, Hwoarang players are brain damaged, you get the idea. My only advice is to stay alert and not autopilot. You'll naturally get better at noticing flowcharts in no time. The last thing is reaction times. This can include reactable moves such as snake edge, throw countering, and punishment. I understand some of us are naturally better than others and have great reaction time, but if you're like me, you want a way to make it easier. The only thing that helped me was practicing these things in practice mode. If you have difficulty reacting to anything, this is the best way to improvement. When you see a snake edge in a real match, you cannot stop for a moment and think, wait, it's that reactor below, I should... Yeah, being aware of these things before they happen will eliminate the initial delay and improve your reactions. Practicing with punishment by being wary and focused will improve it in general, and the same applies to everything else. As for throw countering, I've already made a short video that I'm sure will help improve your throw countering greatly, so if you want to see that, click on the annotation box. Having solid fundamentals is something that takes time, so don't feel bad if you're not ducking all the highs immediately. Take your time with it and remember, Tekken is a video game, so put your personal enjoyment first. I hope this video helped someone out there. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.